Okay, so good morning class. Today we will be having our new lesson in MAPE. Okay, so in art. So are you ready? I know you are ready. So let's begin. Okay, so but before that, let's have the following drill first or words first because we are going to encounter this during the discussion. Also, this is just a drill, okay? So first we have vantage, unique, style, culture, and exhibition. Again, vantage, unique, style, culture, and exhibition. Again, vantage, unique, style, culture, and exhibition. Okay. So based from that paintings class, what do you think would be our lesson this morning? So we are already done the impressionism in music. Now we are going to know what would be that kind of pictures or paintings we are pertaining to here. Okay? So those are or these are what? Okay. Contemporary arts. Okay, maybe. Okay. Okay. I love that one. The combination of blue, red, orange, contemporary art. Okay, so, okay, let's have these jumbled letters because later on, if we're going to make it okay, or we can make or form the topic that we're going to discuss. So based from the jumbled letters presented class, what do you think would be the words or let's say topic that we can associate with it? Okay, that is the characteristics of Impressionism in art. So we are already done with the Impressionism in music, right? So now we are going to have Impressionism in art. Okay, so but based from the topic class, what do you want to learn? Okay, so let's have these following guide questions because later on, these guide questions will guide us during our discussion. Okay, so what is Impressionism and what is Impressionism as a modern art? So I say, what is Impressionism? What would be your answer for this question? And also, what are the characteristics of Impressionism? So, Impressionism has its own characteristics so that we can know or we can detect or we can classify if that particular kind of painting is an Impressionism painting or modern art. Okay, so let's have the first question. What is Impressionism? So, it is characterized by visual impression of the moment in terms of the shifting effect of color and light. So say for example, the nature's landscape. So as we know that Impressionism is just a visual impression of the moment in terms of the shifting of color and light. So we are pertaining to the nature's landscape. So this landscape particularly shows the environment or the environmental scenery, okay, the nature's scenery and the nature's beauty. So that is the Impressionism. That is the use of the shifting effect of color and light. So that is Impressionism. So what is Impressionism as a modern art? So this is the period of revolution and change in art representing the world as a unique way. So when I say unique ways, we are different or we are pertaining to different ways that a particular modern art would be revolve, or let's say this would be the period of revolution, and it changes the way we look at the perception or perspective of art since it's unique and it's different from the other types of painting or art. Number 3, what are the characteristics of Impressionism? So what are those characteristics so that we can know and so that we can classify if something, say for example, painting is in Impressionism or not. So first one is Impressionism would be paint quickly. Okay, so later on during our discussion, we will know why is it that Impressionism will paint quickly. Okay, so next is time and motion. Next is prefer painting outdoors, then use of tiny daubs and dashes. And subjects usually include the people of the city involved in everyday scenes or events. Okay, let's start with Impressionism. So according to our previous discussion, Impressionism is a movement in Europe in painting in France in the 1860s. So it is characterized by visual impression of the moment in terms of color and light. So there is a shifting effect of color and light. So from dark to light and light to dark. And also the texture, the shapes, the visual subjects are the outdoors, for example, the nature's landscape. So the most commonly visual subjects for this kind of painting is the outdoor. Why do we think so? Because we are, so for example, the nature's landscape. And some of the art before, they have their subject, say for example, a person. Okay, so that would be a subject or else a celestial being. So Impressionism in music, as we knew, may be described generally as having refinement, delicacy, and vagueness. So just like the effect of Impressionistic painting, this type of music projects a hazy atmosphere and dreamlike quality. Also in arts, the particular Impressionism painting Impressionism painting projects or shows a hazy atmosphere and dreamlike quality of the painting. So it's just like you are dreaming in a hazy world. Okay, so let's just go back to the pictures presented there a while ago. So we can notice that these following paintings class are the paintings that depicts or shows the nature's landscape or the nature scenery, right? So the first one, a child is walking down the aisle with the flowers or set of flowers beside of her, right? So beside the aisle, there are a lot of sunflowers there. Also, that particular lake, right? So it is just like a refreshing, full of vividness. Also, the texture, the color are still radiating to each other, complementing with each other rather. Okay, so next one we have the Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. So that is one of the best impressionistic painting or impressionism painting we have here in the world. So it shows, or both pictures or paintings shows or depicts the nature's landscape or the nature scenery. So what is a modern art? Since Impressionism is connected with the modern art, so what is a modern art? So looking back in time from our vantage point today, the beginning of the 20th century is recognized as the period of revolution and change in art. So artists were seen representing the world they know in unique ways or never before seen by the public. So this kind of art is so very unique that this art is never seen before by the public itself. So we are undergoing changes also in art. So from the vintage art, or let's say from archaic art to modern art. So there are so many sample arts here. So we're going to look for the different styles, patterns, and use of colors or shades that represents the 20th century or today's century. And also at first, Europe was the birthplace for these new styles that greatly influenced the art created later in America. However, this changed as the century wore on and American art began to show a bold new characteristics of its own. That's why America at first, or let's say America today, is having the modern art galleria in modern art. So they were being inspired by the American art, which is the modern art today. Okay, so at first class, Europe was the birthplace for these new styles of modern art, or let's say impressionistic art. So but because the art is changes, or so the world is changes, that's why, and also American art began to show a bold type of painting, strong type of painting, and it has its own characteristics of its own. It's unique and it's never before seen before by the public. That's why it was been the inspiration of all the painters or artists of the world, their modern art. Okay, so what is a style? So a style surrounds us in our daily lives. So we can easily identify specific styles of cars, kinds of stores, and brand name of different goods. So we knew that a certain brand or style depends upon the choice of yours. So say for example, you want the style of, let's say, in dress. So you want a girly type style. So you're going to choose different things such as for your hairpins, for your dress, the color, the style, of course. So we are surrounded in our daily lives with this style. But of course, it differs or it reflects our own personality also. So artists from their style within a particular time and place. Artists are working in the same culture during the same time often have features in common. So that is the style shared by a particular group of like-minded artists. So say for example, I am from the group of artists who is practicing the modern art. So my style also would be based from our group's practice, which is the modern art. The style of my painting, the strokes, the hue or the colors, if it's bold or if it's too light. So it depends upon the group of a particular group of like-minded artists. But of course, it depends upon you as you're going to imply or apply that kind of style. So these are the following characteristics of Impressionism style or modern art so that we can notice what kind of art would be presented to us in case there are series of portraits or paintings. So first one, Impressionists paint quickly in order to capture the impression of the subject right at the moment. As you can tell, Impressionists are much more interested in conveying mood and atmosphere with their painting than creating a detailed and like replica of their subject. So sorry for the typographical error. So that is, Impressionists paint quickly in order to capture the impression of the subject at the right or at the very moment. So that's why the impressionistic art or the modern art must be painted in quick time, okay, so that they can capture the impression of that particular kind of moment. So as we can tell, Impressionists are much more interested in conveying mood and atmosphere with their painting than creating a detailed and like replica of their subject. So they're going to mix that with their mood and atmosphere of the particular kind of subject. Unlike the other painters who are detailed and like to copy all the subjects per perspective, or let's say subjects ways of showing the art. Next is time and motion are also conscious elements in the work of Impressionists. So they concentrate on painting the changes in color and shape caused by light at different times of the day. So also we can take time to time and motion. So these are just the conscious elements in the work of Impressionism. The time, the span of the time that particular kind of painting would be done, and also the motion or the movement of that particular subject. So say for example in the subway. So as we all know, subway is just a train station or station of trains. So we all knew that trains are moving. That's why we can consider the time and motion of the particular subject we are going to paint. And also, we can concentrate on the changes of colors and shapes caused by the light at different times of the day. Okay? Next one is, they also prefer painting outdoors because they believe that the color of shade is influenced by the surrounding colors and therefore must shine and filter through the scene and flood. Okay, so they also prefer painting outdoors or the sceneries outside, the nature scenery, because they believe that the color is changing also and it is also influenced by the surrounding colors and therefore must shine and filter through the scene and flood onto it. So there must be changes of colors. That's why they prefer painting outdoors because it is more realistic and the shifting of colors or shades is evident than if you are in a studio painting such particular subject. Next, their use of tiny dabs and dashes of bright colors that are mixed from pure hues and broken up with their opposite colors seem to blend as you look at them from a distance. So it is just like it creates unity, the tiny dabs and dashes of bright colors and the original or the dark colors. So say for example, light red to bright red or the crimson red. So we can see them as just complementing or this combining as we look them at a distance. And also, their subjects are usually from the city involved in everyday events, so which seems unimportant compared with the grand subjects painted by earlier artists. So that is their subjects are usually from the city. So because it involves the everyday events of particular set of people or group of people. Okay. So these are the following contemporary arts or the impressionist art today. So I love that one. All of those arts, paintings. The Lady in Purple, I love that. It's so very realistic. Also the modern arts, in the middle you can find the middle. And for the last one, there at the top, it looks like realistic, right? And if we're going to look it in a farther distance, we can see that it complements together or with each other. Okay, that one, the Crazy Avocado. Okay, and also it looks like a native red American, the girl, right? So if we're going to look upon her, it's just like it's realistic. The colors are complementing from light to dark colors. Okay, so let's just go back to our guide question. So what is Impressionism? So that is to characterize by visual impression of the moment in terms of the shifting effect of color and light. So say for example, the nature's landscape. So number 2, what is Impressionism as a modern art? So the period of revolution and change in art representing the world as a unique way. What are the characteristics of Impressionism? So paint quickly, also time and motion, prefer painting outdoors, use of tiny daubs and dashes, and subjects usually include the people of the city involved in everyday scenes or events. So what you're going to do is to describe the characteristics of Impressionism. Complete the graphic organizer below. So those are the following characteristics of Impressionism. So remember, I'm checking all your works and all your activities indicated here in the video presentation. Okay? So just be guided and finish all the tasks that I'm going to give you here. Okay, so the missing one is the time and motion and preferring painting outdoors. So this is what you're going to do in your arts notebook or in MAPE notebook. Complete the graphic organizer. Okay, I'm sorry, we've missed one here. Okay, so complete the graphic organizer below. You're going to make a concept map about the characteristics of Impressionism. So if you can put the meaning, you can put there, okay? Okay, so you're going to answer it in your MAPE notebook. And also this one, complete also the graphic organizer. It talks about the characteristics of Impressionism. Okay, so that ends our discussion in Arts 10. I hope you learned something from today's discussion. Okay, so just remember, I'm going to collect your presentations or your task or your task here in the presentation. Okay, so that would be all, and thank you. Have a nice day and happy watching. Thank you.